Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year to you all. I hope you had a fabulous Christmas and that the start of 2020 has been amazing and will continue to be so for you. As you know, I didn't get a chance to make any Christmas journals for last Christmas, but over the Christmas period I did manage to make just one little mini trifold Christmas journal for a very special lady who I had really promised that she would have one, and she very kindly said it doesn't matter if I couldn't get it done in time for Christmas, she would have it early in the new year. And I did get a chance, as I say, over Christmas to put this one together for her, and I finished it off last week and actually during this week. So here it is. I will be making more towards the end of the year for our next Christmas. But that's a long way off, and there's lots of other journals that I want to make in the meantime. So before I send this off to her, I just thought that I would just do a quick flip through so that you can have a look at the fruits of my labours. And I have to say I'm quite pleased how she turned out. I am embarrassed to say another chunky monkey. She, like me, overindulged over Christmas. She's one signature, but she's chubby. But she's happy. That's all I'm going to say on that front. I couldn't get any bright red sari silk, or in fact any dark green, holly green sari silk. So what I've used is this lovely wide satin ribbon, and I've tied her around the front, around the cover rather, with a generous amount of this. And it's stitched in. I've stitched it in using the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Like all the other mini trifold journals, it's a collaged front using vintage papers, so French ledger paper. There's an image there which I've cut out from a vintage book of the letter F. There's some German paper, some, what's that, some dictionary paper, some vintage English correspondence, so that's a signature there, and that's a little bit more of it saying that it's dated September 1930. And this on the front is Christmas wrapping paper, and I've used it roughly torn and inked, or I've fussy cut it, so I've used both methods. What I tried to do with this little journal, I had some fun actually over Christmas making this little journal, because I tried to include in it everything that I thought that was synonymous with Christmas. So you play games, so there's 15 images of the Nutcracker soldier hidden in here. There's the 12 days of Christmas. I've tried to use paper from Christmas crackers, table crackers. I've tried to use wrapping paper. I've tried to use Christmas cards. What else have I used? Present tabs or labels. Anything and everything I could think of that was synonymous with Christmas has gone into this little journal, except one iconic image, person, that is synonymous with Christmas. That is not included in here, and there's a special reason for not including that particular person. I'll tell you now, it's Santa Claus, and there are no images of Santa Claus in here, but I've tried to cover everything else that I could think of that was synonymous with Christmas. So anyway, let's go into the journal. Usual 3 pockets in the cover, but what I've done this time is, although I've lined the file folder with these beautiful images by Angela Harding of her Christmas lino cuts, I haven't put anything in the pockets, basically because she was getting too fat. So this image here is Angela Harding's lino cut of the 3 Christmas hares, and this one on the back is just called the holly hedge, but I just thought those were lovely Christmas images to include in. There's a little circular pocket here with a couple of little tiny tags there. These have been backed with vintage paper, and what I've done on these is, sorry, my computer is just deciding to play up. There we go. I hope that hasn't messed the recording up too much, but I'm going to soldier on. So backed with vintage paper, and I've done some fussy cutting. So those go in the pockets, which are collaged, and there's one of the little nutcracker soldiers that I told you about, and as I say, there's 15 of those tucked away throughout this journal, which the lovely lady that is has been promised this journal has got to find. I'm not going to show you them all, but you will see a few as I go through. So this is a Janet Marsh image. I've stitched around the edges of most of the pages as with the cover, and it's inked. I've done raw silk, lace and eyelash trim, a little snippet here with a vintage button. Over the page is a lace pocket, and there's a greeting card, Christmas greetings from Edith Holden. This doesn't come from the usual book that we use for our junk journaling. This is from a book that's all about her life. So this has been stitched and inked. I've backed it with some French exercise paper and a Tracy Fox label. This page, I've used some old vintage property deed paper here, which dates back to 1937. There's another piece under this lace snippet, and there's a vintage button there. This pocket has been made with part of an envelope, glassine bag stitched on the top, and then this is part of a Christmas card that I was sent, and you'll see the main part of the Christmas card further on in the journal. This is the tag that I made to go in that pocket. This is part of a menu, Christmas menu. That's a Ranger image, a little tag, and on the back one of the soldiers, some vintage lace, and on the back again vintage paper, plain paper, and also some script paper or handwritten paper. Oh, I should show you the charms. There's a few charms in this one. So there's a little red jingle bell. This was to mimic an icicle, because I like to think of snow and ice at Christmas. There's a silver snowflake. There's this gorgeous set of bells and holly leaf on top. Tucked in here, there's a tiny, tiny little, if I can get it to hang properly, tiny little silver Christmas present, and here there is a Christmas tree. So going over the page, another lace snippet in the corner with a stamp, Tracy Fox envelope. This is a vintage tea card of a robin with some lace. Here I've used one of my vintage clog repairers receipt pages, and here I've just stitched down the centre of some used Christmas postage stamps, because I know some people like to hang their Christmas cards up like this, so that this was to mimic that idea. And on the back there are my soldiers again. Over the page there is a poem from the Edith Holden book, an image of some mistletoe in a little pocket that I've made down there. This is a tag with a Stamperia image layered on top and stitched round, some indenture paper, and then some French script paper on the back. And it's just got threaded through with some lovely grosgrain ribbon. There's an end pocket here and a library card. And as I think I mentioned, I've tried to include in here the images from the 12 Days of Christmas. So this is a partridge in a pear tree, which I've decoupaged on, some washi, stitched and inked, and some collaging on the back with a used Christmas card. Some Stamperia paper with this lovely image of a Christmas tree or a fir tree, some collaging up here with used postage stamps and ledger paper, Same here with some stitching and some fussy cutting. This is just plain ledger paper. Over the page is a side pocket. This has been layered with Chinese book page to tie in with opposite, and these pieces are from the Christmas crackers that we had on our table on Christmas Day. A Stamperia tag. This is a Jackie Chimes design for her tag. I think it's tag number 8, but please forgive me, Jackie, if I haven't got the number right. But a huge shout out to Jackie Chimes because her tags are amazing. So I copied her idea. So we have a tuck spot at the top there with a little journaling card. I've embossed on the back with the word joy and a fussy cut. This is a Stamperia image there, and the front cover is Stamperia paper with some German paper with a Stamperia image all layered up, some lace down the side, a side pocket with another Stamperia tag which has been stitched and inked. This is some more table cracker paper, and I've just layered it up on the back with some images there. And there's a little tiny silver C on a jump ring through an eyelet, and the C is to symbolise Christmas, and then that's the back. So that goes in that pocket there. This is just a top tuck with a little piece of ephemera that's been layered on the back, collaged. Fascinated by that word, aren't I? Layered on the back with some script. Over the page, this is a flip up. I think these are red cardinals on fir branches, but I thought they fitted in with the whole theme. So that flips up. There's a little pocket there. This is a Christmas present tag. Layered up with some vintage French ledger paper inside and on the back, and we've got a decoupage of the 3 laying hens, I think it is. 3 hens are laying, and I've left the string pointing up here and put it in this direction because it actually looks like it's part of the front cover. Inside there are 3 sheets of paper that fold out, and these sheets of paper follow on from each other, and when they were all connected it made one A4 sheet of paper. And it's all about military music that military bands play, and I thought it was quite interesting, especially as it covers Christmas. So this will be the first bit to read, that will be the second bit, and that will be the third bit. But if you don't want to read it, you can unfold it and use it for journaling on. Underneath the paper is a pocket. I've decoupaged on it 2 turtle doves, and this is a piece of vintage conveyance, and I think it was dated 1902, this one. It's got its seals on it, and just plain on the inside for journaling. Some more layering here on the edge of the page. Over the page, this is from one of 2 books of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol that I used. This one is dated 1843, or this image or page comes from the book that was dated 1843. And the pages were so very thin that I couldn't use them as they were in the journal, but I glued them to this tea-stained paper, and it actually worked like decoupaging because you can't see the join. This paper was so fine. I've done a bit of layering and stitching at the bottom here, and this again is some more decoupage, but this is again the 12 Days of Christmas, and this is the 10 Lords a-Leaping. This is some vintage music paper to scale, and I've decoupaged on part of a Christmas tree that was on a napkin. This again is a flip out of a Stamperia image, and it creates a little tuck spot here, and there's another tag in there, vintage lace, 3 tiny little green buttons, and stitched and inked. And then on the back, ledger paper, French ledger paper, and 5, it should be 5 gold rings, but that looks more like a wreath to me, but never mind. And that goes in there. Tea stain paper that I've inked and stitched on for a journaling spot. This is lovely vellum paper that I found, and if I can just catch it in the light, you can just see that it's of Christmas trees, and written across it in gorgeous script, and you know how much I like my calligraphy and fonts. It just says Merry Christmas, but it's lovely thick stuff. So I stitched around that, and I like the way it just shows through the imagery of this Edith Holden page, which I'm going to open up because I thought it was lovely. I've collaged in the corner here, but I thought that was a lovely image. And over the page, if I take out the tag, some blue tits, and they're kind of synonymous to me of winter and Christmas, especially here in the UK. We tend to notice great tits and blue tits more, and we hang up coconuts for them so that they can feed throughout winter. So that's sentimental to me, so I just wanted to include that in. A bit of layering here to create the pocket, some raw silk, Tracy Fox label, some straw paper, some stamping. This is the tag that goes in that pocket, and I made it with some indenture paper, vintage lace, and I've done a seal here, a wax seal, and I hope you can pick that up. It should be of ivy leaves. There's a little label here that says December with an indenture seal on it, and some more lace, and then another one of the little Nutcracker soldiers tucked away, hidden behind there. And on the back, straw paper, a great tit, and some text, book page. Some more straw paper on this side, and this is 7 swans are swimming, a little bit of French handwriting there. A little red jingle bell, and I hope you can hear it. It's got a lovely tinkly sound. It's holding in place this tag, which is layered up Stamperia paper with Ranger special delivery imagery there, and some vintage lace, fussy cutting on the back, and some indenture paper or deed paper on the back. This is some piano paper, and it had this written on it, and it's a signature, and it says 22nd of the 8th 24, and it's written and with the initials GB there, and then it's signed, and then the date is written again there. So I'm not sure if that's 1924 or 1824. It's probably 1924, but excuse me, I thought it was nice to include. Here is some deed paper, French deed paper, which dates from 1893, with some fussy cutting there. And I made this tiny little postcard or envelope to replicate the letter that as kids we send to Santa. I've done a couple of little stamps on there, and I've stitched it on to this gorgeous green paper, which was the end papers to the Charles Dickens book that I mentioned that image was from, the 1843 book. It was very, very fragile, so what I've done is I've given it several coats of Ranger Matte Medium. I've done a fussy cut on there, on the back, and the flap just goes underneath the fussy cut of the holly image to hold it in place. And then this is a sheet or a page from that 1843 Christmas Carol story by Charles Dickens, and I thought I'd include it in. There's a lovely image there of Bob Cratchit with Scrooge, and as you can see, I hope you can see, it's very, very fine. It's almost like tissue paper, but I thought that would be nice to include in, and I will pop that back in its envelope afterwards. Well, I'll pop it back in now, but I'm not going to put it onto the page. Just want to do it very delicately, very carefully, with it being so delicate. Over the page, this is more of the original French deed paper, and then I did another wax seal, but this time in red. This was a tag I received on one of my Christmas presents this year, and I thought it went nicely in here, so I've layered it up on some washi, stitched it in, some more text. As you can see, this is notebook paper that I've tea stained and stitched, and I've included some of the red cross-grain ribbon there with a little image in the corner. That's where it goes along the back, as you can see. Some mistletoe, so you get mistletoe at Christmas. This page was from an old vintage carol songbook, and I thought that was lovely, too lovely to not to use. And I've put 12 Drummers Drumming, decoupage that on there. This is the Christmas card I was talking about that helped me make this part of that pocket. So this is part of the Christmas card, and as you can see, it's got this lovely laser cutting, and that image, that bit that went on the glassine pocket continued down here. So I wanted to use it in this journal. I've got this little dangle here to replicate icicles, because I always think you get snow and icicles at Christmas. And as you can see, this is an envelope that I've used to make a top loading pocket, but I've also made a side loading pocket here. But because this is so fragile, I wanted to protect it by putting some acetate behind it. So you can put your tag in behind the tree if you want, but I think over time you'd probably catch it and damage it. So it's easier to go in behind here. And this is where I'm calling for a bit of poetic license. This is Rudolph. Well, it's not. I know it's not. It's a stag and a deer, but I want it to be Rudolph, and I didn't want to ruin the image by putting a red nose on it. But if you want to, please do. But that's Rudolph. Anyway, it's stitched round, it's inked, and it's layered on the back. More ledger paper, and this is 4 calling birds, which I've decoupaged on the back. So that's my bit of poetic license, and you can just see Rudolph pokes out between the trees. He's in hiding. He's not actually pulling the sledge at this moment in time. So over the page, as I say, top loading pocket, and I've included in here the front page or the end page from the second Christmas Carol book that I used. I can't remember the age of this one, but it wasn't as old as the 1843, the other book. But I liked that because that was its end page, and there's an image there of Scrooge sat in his chair. But I thought there was plenty of space on the reverse to journal on if you wanted to, or just to tuck it away and leave it in this top loading pocket. Some die cuts on there, a little pocket at the bottom. There's a little tag with a Nutcracker soldier, 24th of December ticket, and I've layered on the back and another one of the little soldiers, and then a December monthly with 11 fiddlers fiddling, and this is backed with French ledger paper, as you can see. So they all fit in that pocket. There's more die cut here, and a Ranger image here. Now this is, as you can see, a Christmas menu from this year that I picked up when I was in York, and it is from a pub called The Botanist, but they have these gorgeous menus and I thought they were absolutely lovely, so I snaffled one. Well, I didn't snaffle one, I asked if I could have one and take it away, and they kindly gave me 2 or 3 to take away. So I've adapted them slightly, and I thought they would make nice centre folds for the journal. These 2 pockets and 2 side tucks are a deconstructed envelope which I was very, very kindly sent recently in some happy mail. So if you saw that video, you will probably recognise this lovely little envelope, which I decided to use, deconstruct it and use in my journal. There's some layering up on each of the pockets. This is a tag that goes in that pocket. Then there's a little journaling card here with a Tracy Fox envelope. And that's the back. I'll do that one last. Another little journaling card. And these are little fussy cut images. This is it's supposed to be a Christmas rose. This I believe is a red cardinal, but I'm not sure. I've laid it up and inked a little piece of paper on there and some condensing paper on the back and more layering up there. And then there's a tag in the pocket. This is a whale tail top or tab top, but I've cut it off straight because it was too big. And then I've done a little flap there, and then this opens out. So vintage French ledger paper and journaling spot, and that just folds up, goes back in its pocket. In there. Over the page, just some layering, nothing on this page, but it is another pocket. And this time I've used a double page from a Mrs. Beaton's household management book, and I meant to find out the date of this before I sat down and did the video, but I'm sorry I haven't done. But I thought it was fascinating because it covers dinners for September through to December, and there's 4 on each page, but it's absolutely fascinating. And it does it in French on one side, the recipe page, the recipe number for the page, the quantities, and the average cost, and then it's in English, and it's for 8 people, and they do things like mock turtle and caviar on toast and roast quail. What else did I see? Boiled turbot, mousseline sauce, clear oxale soup, stewed celery. Oh, it's fantastic. So I thought that was interesting, so I've just popped that in this little pocket here, because I thought that might be nice to have a little read through and compare prices or costs of what a meal like that would cost to make today. There's a little tuck spot here, more decoupaging on that Carol book page, Wexford Carol books. Some more die cut here with some ribbon at the top. More of that deconstructed envelope with some layering on here. This is a tag, or a journaling card rather. 8 maids a milking there, and that just folds up. Where are we? Just tucks in there. And this is a tuck spot here with I'm not sure what, I think is it 6 geese are laying? Not sure, but anyway, it's 6 geese doing something or other. This pulls out, and this is more of that French deed paper with a fussy cut robin on some holly. And then Christmas tree fussy cut. Here is a snowflake charm, silver snowflake charm. And this is a glassine envelope, which I've embossed the word joy on, and I've put some glittery snowflakes with some little buttons, and this here is tracing paper snowflakes, and inside I've just put some more snowflakes inside, just because I thought it looked cute. Obviously you can take them out and use the envelope for something else, or you can use the snowflakes in your journaling, or you can just leave it as it is, whatever you want to do. But I just thought, you get snow at Christmas, or I always hope for snow at Christmas. I like skiing, so any chance to play in some snow is great for me. I'm a big kid, I've not grown up yet. There's another side top tuck here, This is an Edith Holden page which I've left as is because it covers December the 7th and December the 18th and what she was getting up to or what she observed around that time. Collaged image of a Christmas tree there. Going over the page, I liked this poem by Shakespeare, so I left it, and there's a fussy cut robin there. Here's some more of that lovely, or the other side of this lovely vellum paper, embossed vellum paper. This little tiny charm is gorgeous, this little silver charm. It doesn't need to be here, but it was just too nice not to include. This is a Christmas card that I received this Christmas and decided to make use of. I love this plaid pattern on the card, so I cut the card down, and I liked the fa la 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 on the front, which is gold foiled, and inside I've done an Edith Holden image of mistletoe and laid it up with the word mistletoe stitched round, and that can either go completely over the vellum page like so, or as I've been doing, because it's a pocket on this side, if I hold that up you can see it's a pocket, the back of that journaling card will slip into the pocket if I can get it to go in at this angle. There you go, it will go in and will sit in there quite nicely. I've got it at an angle, there you go. But I like the fact that I got it opposite the sheet music, the carol sheet music. This I've edged in that mistletoe washi. I had some robin ribbon that I just stitched to the page, and I put a journaling spot there. Oh, I like this page. In our household we all have advent calendars for the run up to Christmas, so I wanted to do something that would mimic that. So these were tiny little present tags that I had, so I decided I would make them into my own effort of an advent calendar. So they are all little flips, and they all open, and they're all magnetised. And that was kind of my advent calendar idea. It kind of works, so bear with me. I think this gentleman was called Mr. Fizzywick and his wife, and this is their Christmas party. There's a fiddler in the back, there's mistletoe, somebody kissing under the mistletoe, and this was one of the original images from that Charles Dickens 1843 Christmas Carol book. Here I've done a decoupage of star, because there